Welcome to Training Industry Quarterly Electronic Magazine, Spring 2012 edition podcast of the article, 6 Critical Measurement Mistakes and How to Avoid Them, by David Carter. One of the most important factors in any business is defining measurements for learning initiatives. Establishing measurements that are clear, meaningful, and relevant are a central responsibility as well as a challenge for companies. Some organizations make too many assumptions about what their key stakeholders expect, not asking the correct questions and having the appropriate discussions to confirm in advance what the measurement outcomes should reflect. The result? Teams that are charged with measuring development initiatives may craft programs that are too complex and not practical to execute, or just off the mark. These measurement plans may also lack alignment with a company's cultural norms and expectations, right down to not knowing the most effective way to present final results, be it in a one-page dashboard or a lengthy PowerPoint presentation. What businesses need to institute are cohesive measurements, but this is often more difficult than it sounds. Mistakes are common for a number of reasons, including that teams have more demanding workloads and little time to accomplish tasks. But each day, companies and organizations are losing valuable time and money because they are focused on measurement practices that are antiquated and/or ineffective. What can be done to improve measurement so that all companies have concise metrics to benchmark the impacts of learning objectives? Following are 6 critical measurement mistakes that companies continuously make and ways they can avoid falling into these traps. 1. Lacking alignment with what really matters to critical stakeholders. Don't make assumptions about what really matters and what senior leaders believe. Many assume senior executives will automatically focus on hardline, quantifiable results, such as revenue growth or any kind of win rate for sales. But that is an assumption. Many learning and development leaders would be surprised at how many senior leaders have the opposite point of view because they know how many variables can impact hard metrics in a complex business. Sometimes anecdotal evidence about how learning impacted performance is more compelling. Leaders believe their people and believe their stories. Bottom line, anecdotes can be just as important as numerical evidence. Know what your leaders would prefer. 2. Building plans that are too elaborate. People in learning and development often focus so much on measurement and planning that they get in the weeds, generating too many options or building plans that are too intricate to execute in a cost and time-effective manner. For example, if trying to measure improvements in sales cycle time, it may make sense conceptually to measure how quickly opportunities progress through stages in Salesforce.com. But that can be very difficult to execute. Furthermore, rarely is it any one person's job title to be the measurement person. So those developing the measurement strategy might not have the time or knowledge to complete the measurement correctly. Ask yourself, are we spending too much time brainstorming and not enough time prioritizing plans and assigning tasks? Setting clear priorities and assigning specific roles to the right people can help companies quickly advance through the various stages of executing their initiatives. 3. Defining measurement approaches that cannot be practically executed. For some companies and initiatives, it is not practical to obtain data from particular audiences. We have often heard senior leaders say they do not want large revenue level metrics. They'd rather track a particular salesperson or changes in revenue per relationship. Those are all good metrics, but pulling that data and culling it by person, territory, product, or region can be overwhelming and sometimes impossible, as well as confounding from the practical execution standpoint. Always ask, can we really achieve these measurements? 4. Defining tracking mechanisms in areas where the resources to execute on them are not bought in or do not have permission to follow through on the work. In this example, it is all about resources. As with any project, it requires close monitoring to ensure meeting deadlines and business goals. Teams often pursue tasks for an extended period of time without reviewing milestones or progress. They need to take time to digest what has been accomplished and what the next steps are for completion. By not recapping the status of a project, they might quickly see that the approach is not feasible. Leaders need to incorporate circuit breakers into planning, closely monitoring approaches to see if they're working and if they need adjustments before it's too late. 5. Lacking alignment of measurement work with cultural norms and expectations. The best way to explain this trap is with a story. A team at one family-owned company was focused on numerical metrics. such as how many people might be promoted as a result of development efforts, or how much was spent per employee. But what the owners really wanted was a book with pictures and anecdotes that they could print and send out. They wanted something tangible that made them and their customers feel good about the organization. To them, smiling, successful employees captured success in a way no number or PowerPoint could. Of course, the opposite scenario could occur. Senior leaders want metrics, not stories. But again, know your corporate culture and expectations, and don't make assumptions. 6. Missing the mark in terms of measurement capture tangibles, presentations, or scorecards. You've done the measurement. You have your results. Now, how are you going to present it? After all that hard work, don't blow it by presenting the information in a way that your senior leaders can't absorb effectively. A classic example? Teams might have reams of information, charts, and graphics. Why not show the boss in a 33-slide PowerPoint? Maybe the boss doesn't have the time and just wants to know the headline or the action item. Maybe a one-page dashboard or scorecard would suffice. Teams often struggle to whittle down multitudes of data, so they automatically create large presentations and believe each data point is necessary to report. Some stakeholders might want all the details and will ask the probing questions about why teams achieved certain results, while others will want alternative forms of presentations, such as books with stories and pictures. Employees must not make assumptions about what they believe will be compelling. Ask first. To mitigate the effects of these traps, organizations can apply the following strategies. Getting the right people in on one conversation, executive sponsors, business leaders, subject matter experts, core team members, people playing analytics roles, and people representing marketing, finance, and strategy functions. Using a specific question logic for the conversation that moves it through a tested series of steps to create alignment, new thinking, and reality-based plans. For example, who are our stakeholders? What matters most to them? Of those business priorities, which are related to learning? How can we get that data? And who can get it? Meanwhile, relying on skillful facilitation practices, including dilemma management, is crucial. Dilemmas are issues that do not have a single right answer, but must be managed. Several common dilemmas often arise in choosing measurement metrics for a learning initiative, such as the need for data versus the extensive resources required to obtain data. Acknowledging and working through the natural tensions in measurement execution is important because it will increase the formation of breakthrough strategies. When it comes to managing dilemmas, especially in measurement, leaders often get stuck in 3 traps: overlooking critical dilemmas, getting hit by the pendulum swing, and failing to look at a dilemma without bias. In order to manage any dilemma, a leader must be able to name what the dilemma is, analyze it with an open mind, and take new action by breaking out of the either-or thinking pattern that leads to conflicts. To avoid the pendulum swing, leaders need to avoid falling victim to shifting back and forth between its 2 poles. Looking at dilemmas without bias means reviewing the benefits as well as the disadvantages of any possible solution to a dilemma. Then, leaders are in a good position to obtain benefits from each opportunity while avoiding the disadvantages. By streamlining the appropriate metrics, companies can avoid making expensive and time-consuming measurement mistakes, such as being misaligned with critical stakeholders, defining impractical measurement tactics, and missing the measurement mark on presentations or reports. These efforts will help to create more strategic speed in any organization's initiatives. David Carter is Vice President and Executive Consultant for Forum Corporation. Key takeaways. In order to avoid the top 6 measurement mistakes, companies can apply measurement solutions that clearly provide data for company goals and benchmarks. These solutions include incorporating the necessary people in the conversation, executive sponsors, business leaders, subject matter experts, core team members, people playing analytics roles, and people representing marketing, finance, and strategy functions. Using a specific question logic for the conversation that moves it through a tested series of steps to create alignment, new thinking, and reality-based plans. Relying on skillful facilitation practices, including dilemma management or acknowledging and working through natural tensions in measurement execution. You've been listening to 6 Critical Measurement Mistakes and How to Avoid Them by David Carter. For more podcasts and articles like this, visit www.trainingindustry.com. Thanks for listening. I'm John Sherlock.